Well, hello, friends. My name is David Trotter. I'm the founder and publisher of Awaken Magazine. And today we are hosting live stream author interviews with 5 illustrious authors, contributing authors to the Awakened Hearts anthology. This is the hardback version, and we're super excited about the launch of the book this week. It's currently number 1 in 3 categories on Amazon as an Amazon bestseller in the Kindle. And you can get it on Amazon in Kindle, paperback and hardback. And we're so excited to be able to share these stories of awakening. And before I have each of our authors today introduce themselves, I just want to let you know the reason why we have created and curated this book is because over the last year, as I've been interviewing people and connecting with so many people, hearing their stories of awakening, I began to dream about what would it look like to put these stories of awakening in a beautiful book so that we could get them into the hands of women and men who are asking the question, oftentimes kind of midway point in life, or maybe in the midst of a bump in the road, is this all there is to life? Is there more? How do I experience healing? What do I do with these intuitive experiences that I'm having in life? What do I do with this? And so if you read this book, you will find that there are 32 inspiring stories of awakening that really become like a mirror where you can see your own life, your story in the mirror of their story and go, wow, okay, somebody else has gone through this too, and they've come out the other side and they're experiencing hope and freedom and transformation. And so part of the book is not only being inspired by the stories, but being able to get to know those authors and even reaching out to them. And I'll show you the interior of the book in just a bit, where you can find that there's a QR code for each author and you can connect with their websites. So once again, pick up the book at Amazon. You can actually just use the URL awakenedheartsbook.com, and you can find it on Amazon Kindle, paperback, and hardback. So let's get started today with some of our authors. So excited to have Dinah and Debbie and Maureen and Ellie and Lauren with us from all over the United States. And so if you wouldn't mind just taking a moment to introduce yourself, maybe share where you're from, and how you serve people in this world. And I know some of you are full-time as a conscious leader, healer, coach in terms of your profession and your service. Others of you have perhaps a job. Tell us all. It's all good. We want to hear about it. So Dinah, would you mind going first?
Sure. Hi, everyone. I'm Dinah Simpson. I'm based out of Washington, D.C. And I have really dedicated my life to providing coaching and energy work to help people, especially with like busy minds, busy hearts, to find a sense of calm and to break through a lot of the blockages that kind of paralyze us in our soul's purpose here on earth. So I'm so happy to be here.
Wonderful, wonderful. Your audio is just a little bit light.
Okay.
So I don't know if you maybe get closer, speak up, or somehow turn up the volume or something. I don't know. Debbie, tell us about yourself.
Hi, thank you so much for this opportunity. I'm from Binghamton, New York, which is about 3 hours west of New York City. I have spent 25 years of my life working directly in the mental health field, studying, listening, walking side by side, helping people, listening. And through their stories, I found that I found an immense amount of healing. I call it comfort and growth behind the curtain, so to speak. And as they were walking their walk and I was listening, I was also walking my walk and learning a lot about myself. So I retired from the mental health workload about 2017. And now I'm in more of a writing consultant phase of my life.
Wonderful. And I love your green blouse that matches our green vibe here. Looking good.
Yay.
Yeah. And I've got my Awakened Hearts. Let's see if I can get it here. Awakened Hearts shirt on, which my partner Mandy said looked kind of like a grandma shirt or something because of the flowers. But I was like, I'm rocking it. Yeah. And by the way, if you are watching this author live stream, I have worn this for 4 days in a row. I'm not wearing it the whole day. I just tell you, I just put it on, take it off. Maureen, Good to see you. Tell us who you are and how you're making a difference in the world.
All right. Thank you, David. I'm Oracle Maureen. I am in Orange County, California. Since my awakening experience, I have devoted my life to using my spiritual gifts to helping people here on earth and those in heaven through readings, sessions, classes, a lot of messages on my blog and my YouTube, and the list kind of goes on. So
I love it. Thank you for being here. It's great to see you.
thank you for having me.
Oracle Maureen and I see each other all over the place, all kinds of events and
You
stuff.
do. I always love
Yeah.
seeing you, David.
Yeah. Ellie, it is good to see you. Your hair's blowing in the breeze. You're like a model over there. Like, tell us about yourself.
It's great to be here. I'm in New Hampshire, and it's extremely hot. It's a heat wave today, of all days. And I actually have a day job with the New Hampshire Department of Safety, which is actually featured in my stories about how that job helped me find my path to healing energy work and being intuitive and finding myself becoming a writer. I always was, but I kind of detoured from that, and it's all in the book. So that's a little bit about me.
Wonderful. It's great to have you today. And Lauren, how about you? You introduce yourself. Tell us how you're serving in the world.
Yeah, thank you. Very, very lovely to be here. My name is Lauren. I am from Mount Shasta, California, currently. I am the founder of Orion Retreats, which is a retreat company. We do retreat planning and then host our own retreats. For me, it was an amalgamation of my healing path as on the receiving end of being healing. But also, I found that there was a necessity to share more gifts and put these into these like really nice retreat containers. So I serve people by creating really nice like healing spaces for people to let go of their daily lives, come on, unplug, and come on a really healing retreat, and then have support afterwards. And that's how I'm serving through energy work and through different like sacred site tours through the company.
Thank you, Lauren. And for those of you who don't know me, I am the founder and publisher of Awaken Magazine, and we're just dedicated to amplifying the voices of people just like these incredible authors, really conscious leaders, healers, and coaches. And we do that through the magazine and books and events, all sorts of ways. And that's what I've dedicated my life to. So I do want to talk about this word awakened. We have it in the title of the book, of course, Awakened Hearts. I have used this term awakened for so many years. I used that as the name of my media company, Awaken Media, when I was producing films on important social issues. So it's been a part of my life for quite some time. And it's kind of taken on different meanings. And even the last 5 years for me, we've called the magazine Awakened Magazine. People ask, why do you call it Awakened Magazine? I go, well, for number one, the website was available, so that's why we called it that. It's tough to find certain websites these days. But what do you personally think the term awakened means? We all have probably a different take on that. Maureen, would you mind sharing with us your thoughts on what does it mean to be awakened?
Yeah, to me, I have two dual things that come to mind. You know, we come to Earth in a very heavy state of amnesia. We're so much more than our physical bodies, our physical consciousness. When we're awakened, we remember that we're an eternal soul that is here just living on a physical dimension, going through the physicality of learning lessons and tests, all in order to evolve our souls. Awakened also means becoming more aware of that part of our being, and then also connecting or having the chance to choose to connect to our guides, our angels, and God, and have them help guide us while we're here going through our journey during the present incarnation that we all are currently in, and consciously remembering that the rest of our time here on Earth, and not slipping back and becoming dim again to this insight.
Beautiful. Thank you so much for sharing that. Yeah. Did you have one more thing you wanted to share?
they took over channeling and they wiped it from me.
Okay.
But they did. If it comes back, I'll let you know what it is.
Okay, good. Dinah, how about you? What does this term awakened mean?
I guess similar to Maureen, it is this feeling of aliveness and vibrancy. And so to me, when my process happened, it was like, oh, there's clarity now. And so there's just, again, this remembering of who you are at the core. And beyond the titles, the roles, our stories, it's when you start to live from your inner truth instead of from fear or pressures from the outside world. You begin to trust that little whisper inside of you, your intuition, and you don't doubt it anymore. It's like second nature. And you recognize that life is always offering you ways to grow, ways to heal, and to return to that inner peace. And so I think it's really becoming more present and more conscious, more connected to your body, to your thoughts, and really understanding your soul's rhythm, what it wants to do and how it wants to move through this life.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. Ellie, how about you? What is this term awakened, or what does it mean to go through an awakening for you?
For me, to be awakened is to be fully present in your own truth. It's a sort of remembering or returning to the love, light, and wisdom that lives within you. It's the moment you stop running from your pain and start listening to it. It's the softening, it's an opening, it's choosing to live from the soul instead of from survival mode. It's when the whispers of the heart become too loud to ignore. And it's really just stepping into your own authentic self is how I see awakening.
Thank you. Debbie, what are your thoughts on this?
Well, everything all of these wonderful women have said make it difficult for me to find the words. I'm going to say for me, it's about really being fully present. When I first heard the word awakening, I thought, how does that really resonate for me? And what I've had to learn and really worked on in the last 4 years is how to be present and not disappear while I'm in conversation with somebody or while I'm watching something. So I believe it's a presence, but I also feel like it's this incredible sense of calm that once you figure that out and you feel that intently, it's really hard to go back to anything else that may be chaos or upsetting to you because you carry it so strongly. And that is the journey that I hope our readers will be able to tap into.
Yes. Lauren, you're number 5. We're hoping you have something very unique and eloquent to say. No pressure.
No pressure.
Everyone's shared such beautiful things, and I resonate with all of that for sure. I think what stands out to me is I have this belief in like self-realization leads to God realization, and God not in like this religious term, but source, universe. We all call it different things, even goddess. I think the pathway to being awakened is having that realization that we are a spark of God, of our creator, of the universe, and to bring that out further and further into the world. Like the whole motto of my company is awaken to your divinity. And the more that we realize that we are a part and parcel of the creation itself, and then we are creators, that leads to a more awakened life. It's just, I think it's a slow blanket unveiling, but the more, yes, that we can be present with that we have, that we are that, I think is the most important thing for me about the awakening journey.
What are the ramifications, Lauren, that if I become aware, okay, everything that I see is not just like, this is not just everything. There's something beyond that. There's a spark of divinity within me. Wait. You're saying I'm divine. Okay. What are the ramifications of that in my day-to-day life?
Oh, I love this question. Thank you. I think it gives us such a sense of responsibility to take real ownership over our lives, over our thoughts and actions. Because if we are the creators of our own reality, and we're getting messages and getting things from our soul, which has a certain mission, then we have like a really profound responsibility to make sure that we're honoring that, following our soul's path, treating each other with love, compassion, and respect, and really doing our part to create the world peace that we want, the healing of the collective, because we have such a strong sense of like, this is meaningful, this is important, versus not believing in anything. We can start to feel really small when we don't have that sense of connection to the divine.
Mm-hmm. One of the things that has come up through a number of these author conversations about the term awakened is that for a lot of us, we think about awakening in terms of spirituality, kind of like, okay, it's not just three-dimensional, but there are other dimensions. There are things that we can't see. Maureen, you were heavily, sharing that in the beginning, but also that there can be awakenings in all aspects of our lives. And maybe someone's not particularly in a spot of a spiritual awakening, but they're becoming more aware of, as you said, Ellie, that, let's see, what did you say about pain? That, do you have that? Do you have that in your mind, what you said about pain, or if anybody can else remember? So like not avoiding pain, but
listening to it.
Listening to the pain, and then becoming aware that, as someone said a couple of days ago, I got divorced here, I had this breakup here, I had this other, issue. Who's the common denominator? Oh, it's me. I wonder what's going on here, right? And that awakening to my own internal world, awakening to how I use my body, or what I'm eating, what I'm taking in, how I have relationships. All of these areas can be areas of awakening. And I also think that they then can impact the other areas. So if I'm awakening, like you said, Lauren, to the divinity, then, how do I treat others? How do I treat my body? How do I treat the world? How do I treat animals? I don't know. It helps. It causes me to start to question my assumptions and beliefs. So, Maureen, do you have any thoughts on that in terms of the ramifications for someone's life once they kind of become aware of another dimension? What are the ramifications for them?
I do. In fact, I didn't want to talk too long, and so they made me go blank. When we moved on, they gave me the second dual purpose of awakening, which kind of ties into this. My first answer was, we'll call it the primary, more universal answer. The second one is awakening also to when you get to the point of embracing that you really are a soul here living a physical lesson, test, incarnation to evolve. Then you go deeper and finally realize you also have your own, become awakened to your own unique path, which is completely different from, we'll call it, we're born into a biological group, your family. You may want to gel and mesh with your siblings on many levels. You have your friends, you have your classmates beginning from kindergarten, elementary. Eventually you realize during your awakening, your soul is so completely unique and different as theirs is also. And being finally at a point where you become strong enough to recognize that and honor that. And it takes a lot of strength and a lot of bravery to be able to say no, to be able to pull away from habits, mentalities, perspectives, and go back to what your soul is here to do, and also to align with your level of development, your level of evolution. That's the dual part. That's the second part of awakening to me, versus just getting along and saying yes when you really want to say no, lowering your ethics, lowering what you stand for just to get along with those siblings, those classmates, your peers, your friends. It's really finally getting to a point of, when they gave me mine, they also gave me many different analogies. One they're showing me now is marbles. You know how marbles all have different colors and not one is the same. We're the same, but we're all unique and different, if that helps. As far as your question, David, about dimensions, how was your question phrased? The awakening in relationship to the different dimensions in the universe?
No, I was more thinking about the ramifications of awakening. And so it's like you become aware of that divine spark, or you're aware that what we see is not just everything, then like what are the ramifications to everyday life is
Yeah.
more. Yeah.
Well, for me, I can only speak for me. When I received my awakening, they activated my psychic spiritual gifts to a very high level, which meant I saw the other dimensions. I saw the guides, the angels. I also saw the ghosts, the demons. I also saw Creator. Over many years, I also saw the one whose name we won't mention. I saw fairies. I saw beasts, creatures. I saw so many different things on so many dimensions and planets. Your life will never be the same. They never dimmed me. I've lived like this since then. They did give me the opportunity to dim me at one point if I wanted to. They said I had to use my free will and make a choice. I chose to stay embraced and connected to my guides and angels and God. And when that happened, they opened me up more. I became more awakened that while we're here in this physical dimension, it's literally just one where we are in a parallel universe of so many other dimensions, positive and negative, all at the same time. So as you can be with your guides and angels or your beloved mom and dad who are in their afterlife, one moment you can be exposed to a negative entity or your spiritual guides or guardian angels in the next moment. And it alternates all the time. And then you have to learn how to adapt and manage all the different dimensions that truly do exist all around us.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you so much, Maureen. For those of you who are just tuning in, I do want to draw your attention to the website awakenedheartsbook.com. That's where you can pick up a copy of the hardback here, the paperback, as well as the Kindle version. And so be sure to check that out. I will tell you a little bit more about the interior of the book here in just a few minutes, but I want to hear about the writing process for each one of you. Particularly, what was the process like writing your chapter for this book? And maybe just your own process of writing in general. Do you go to a certain place? Do you have a certain time? Do you have a certain way of doing it? I think people would find that interesting. So let's jump in here and begin with Debbie, if you don't mind. Debbie, what was this like writing your chapter for Awakened Hearts? What's your writing process like?
Well, it was kind of interesting because prior to even knowing that this was all going to evolve, I had started writing, and I was in my home that I grew up with, and I was helping my mother at the time reshuffle rooms. And as I'm going through these rooms that have been completely changed, I started thinking about what my life was when I grew up there and how every room in the house had changed. And yet a part of me still went back to that place of where I was when I was a young girl. And then like a week later, I had a conversation. My son is in the influx of moving from place to place, and he's trying to settle in. And he said, all I want is home. I want a place to live. And I remember saying to him, well, your home is inside you. Wherever you take it, you're at home. And it just evolved from there. My actual writing process to be more, it's a thought process before I actually put anything down on paper. I do a lot of thinking, a lot of meditating, a lot of revisiting and remembering, because I didn't know where this was going to go. And I don't tend to be a detail-oriented writer. So this, to really get in, and my goal was to bring that reader into that experience, especially the child inside of me is the one that was really wanting to write this story. And then it was the adult within me that helped that child find the words to say, that whole experience is not just your story. It's not one story. That was the beginning of an awakened experience for me. And then I spent the rest of my writing experience really looking at how that one particular day, that one moment that changed my life, also was this. I won't say spiritual because I didn't know that word yet, but there was a presence within me that I knew I wanted to get back to.
Mm-hmm.
But I
Yeah,
didn't.
and when you guys read Debbie's chapter, the beginning is very visceral. It is like, whoa! I mean, I am like right there in the room with her, and it is an intense experience. So you're leaving us hanging here with like what that day was all about, and I'm not going to share it either. And I'm excited for people to read that chapter and hear about that experience. So thank you so much, Debbie. Dinah, if you wouldn't mind sharing with us what it was like to write your chapter and maybe just a little bit about your writing process.
Sure. I think actually it was really hard. I didn't realize how emotional I would get. I didn't know, like what how it was going to filter out. And so the process was I would just sit because I really had a hard time. I didn't know where to start. But I just decided I would spend, some time every day just typing and allowing things to come through. And so it was mostly a stream of consciousness a lot of the times, but many days I would just be paralyzed and, to be honest, afraid to open up. And like I said, I spent a lot of time crying because the story, I guess, that was inside of me, that kind of propelled me on to this path, became real as I was writing it down. And a lot of the times I'm like, why am I doing this? Why am I telling this story? Why am I? I'm going to just back out. But I did a lot of meditating along the way, and the softening started to happen. And mostly it was, if I were out there reading this, I would love to have had somebody to hold space for me. And, the awakening process can be very isolating. And so I thought that if I could just keep writing and putting my emotion and my feelings into what's coming through here, I could help somebody. I could support them along their path. And so, yeah, it was not like, oh, this is going to be great. The words are going to come out and flow. It was a lot of stopping and starting and reflecting and taking that risk to deal with my feelings, which I thought I had already done. That's why I said yes to the stories, to writing. So I do appreciate this process. And as much as I, signed up to be part of this, the whole process really continued to help me heal as I am on my path.
Yeah, I think you're definitely not alone in that, Dinah. We've heard that from multiple people who have found that the writing process allowed a deeper layer of healing and transformation. And I don't think I would have let you back out. I would have somehow come to DC and been like, come on, let's do this. You can do it. Yeah. So thank you. I also want to share, as we're talking about the book. So this is the hardback version, and you'll notice on the spine there is a 1 because this is the first of many Awakened Hearts books. I really see this, I don't want to presume the level of impact, but my vision for this is on par with like the Chicken Soup for the Soul series, because I believe that we have so many people who have stories of awakening and that they can be shared. In fact, Ellie has already signed up for our second volume of Awakened Hearts, which will come out in November. And so we're excited to have Ellie's participation. But in this hardback version, on the dust jacket, we've got the pictures of all of the authors there. And so I'm so happy with how this turned out in highlighting them. And then on the inside, here's Dinah's chapter. We have her wonderful picture and the title of her chapter. And then over at the end of her chapter, we have each contributor's bio. And at the bottom here, their URL, their website, their Instagram, or whatever other social media they wanted to connect with, and then a QR code so that you could easily scan that with your phone and head right on over to their website. And that's part of the vision of the book, is not only that you would be inspired, experience transformation and healing, but that you would also reach out to these authors that you found to be helpful and thank them and say, man, I loved your story. It so resonated with me. It was like a mirror for my own life. And they are available to provide coaching and healing modalities and other workshops and retreats and things that they offer. So it's a great way to be able to connect with them as well. All right. So Maureen, tell us about your process of writing the chapter. What was that like for you? And what is the way that you write?
Okay. So the way I typically write, this is one good thing I can say, is actually very easy for me, being a master level channeler, connected and working for the four ascended masters, Jesus, Mary, Kuan Yin, Buddha. When they give me the mission, like they gave me the mission to participate in this book, they'll start to give me a download of a preview, whether it's either in meditation or they'll wake me up in the middle of the night and they'll start to tell me exactly what they want me to accomplish. Then I'll go to my computer. When they tell me to go to my computer, I sit down and it's actually effortless. They will just channel it loud and clear. That part is actually, I know it sounds crazy. It's one of the easiest things for me is actually writing, just like if I was channeling messages. But the hard part is I'm in for a ride that they don't tell me everything that they're going to put me through and require of me when I commit to agreeing to doing one of their missions. And so sometimes, all the time, they'll put more information than I'm always comfortable with. And I have to get more courage, more bravery, and not to become disobedient. I've got to stay obedient. So it's like a little bit of a roller coaster because it's not all my will and it's not all what I would think I would want to do. They go a lot further, which is great. But what happens is I am still in the human body, but the differences with me make me feel kind of nervous on the onset of just feeling the differences going forward where the majority aren't quite like this. And I have to just keep constantly working on becoming more brave for their sake, my sake, anybody here on earth that wants to learn from us, their sake. It feels good actually to write because they're in and out of my body and they tell me the exact words to use, as well as God. So the only challenging part is when, like I said, they ask me to step up and go even deeper, which is places that are not always comfortable or easy for me to have to become vulnerable to and share and open up to. But when I'm done, and if I'm not stubborn or don't hold back for their sake or on them, they give me rewards. They give me blue ribbons. They give me corsage. They give me roses. They'll give me a physical reward of some sort. And when that happens, then I know, job done. I'm good with whatever may come my way. Done and done. So it is kind of an emotional thing for me. When it comes to writing about me, when it comes to writing about other things on my blog, actually it is still kind of the same process, but obviously it's not so connected to me intimately, but it still requires bravery.
Do you handwrite as you're kind of channeling those messages, or is it typed, or how does it work for you?
Oh my gosh, you can't even read my writing. When they're in my body, their vibrations are so high and powerful. I will sometimes I have a file cabinet of notebooks on multiple things, and I'll start once they've made what's called the full merge in me. I can't physically keep up. So then they gave me this to save me a couple years ago. I'll start to dictate in my phone a little bit, and then they move me to the computer, and then it's this, da 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 da. So there's actually a couple different ways it all gets out and gets done.
Maureen, I'm just going to tell you, if Jesus and Kuan Yin and the others are coming to me, I would just say, hey, can we do this in the daytime? Why do you have to wake me up at night?
No, doesn't work that way. Trust me. I haven't even asked that, but what they do is they put me back to sleep, and they put me back to a sleep where it's like I never lost sleep. It's different. Than, it's not
That's good.
When you can't sleep at night.
Right.
It's not that. It's which saves it. And then the next morning, it's pretty much game on, right?
You're refreshed.
Yeah, up and dressed, and it's okay. You need Oracle, time for you to work for us. So yeah, I don't actually sleep throughout the night ever for the last couple of years. It's really rare. So I've gotten used to it, but they give me healings, which gives me even more vibration than I wake up with. So I get a reward for those being woken up. Yeah.
Awesome. Thanks for sharing, Maureen.
Yeah.
Ellie, I want to hear about your process of writing and the process of this chapter, what it felt like for you, as well as just where you write, how you write.
With my writing, I usually take a lot of time thinking about it before I dive in. Sometimes it's writing about it, but it's literally thinking about what I want to write about. And it's really getting into a meditative state. Even if I think I know the subject or the story, sometimes it turns out completely different than what I expect. And really, a lot of my writing comes from a channeled place sometimes that I don't even really know. I just know when I got there or I'm in that state and I'm like, I have to write. But what I do know about this process, any type of writing for me really, is that it's generally raw, real, and usually very transformative and peels away layers of something that needs to be healed.
Wonderful.
And it's basically about meeting myself on the page and listening to myself, and every word becomes a breadcrumb back to my heart, and writing gives me a voice to the parts of me that I once silenced. It reminds me that my story matters, not because it's perfect, but because it's true. And this story was very healing to me because it helped me realize that I was perfect, literally where I was, what I was doing. And it was a true awakening to everything to get me literally to this point today on this video. And it was an incredible journey. It truly was. So thank you.
Yeah. Thank you for sharing. Lauren, how about yourself? What was it like writing this chapter, your own writing process? I know you've done writing in other anthology books as well. So,
yeah, thank you. This one, I was going to start by saying this one was different. It challenged me in a way that pushed me to go deeper than I had before. I tried to share my story in a different way or different aspects of it. And what I found was that it allowed me to focus more on where I am now versus the kind of the tumultuousness and, deeper stuff, trauma, like through my 20s. It allowed me to focus more on the healing aspect of it. The writing process itself is sometimes hit or miss. Like I can clear my schedule and be like, okay, this is where I'm going to sit down and write, but then it doesn't come. So I have to be prepared for when it does come. Typically it's best if I honestly kind of get up in the morning, have my little self-care routine. And then it's usually on a Sunday when I don't have literally anything else planned, and then it'll come in and I sit down and it does all come out. Sometimes to speak to a lot of what Maureen was saying too, is I'll be typing and then more thoughts will be coming in as I'm typing. So I have to have a notepad, don't forget this, because I can be a little all over the place. Don't forget this. And then I, try to bring that back into it. This one usually I sit down and I kind of get it all out and then refine it. This one I started And again, you know, what Ellie said too, like I had to think about it for a while. Like, what do I want to say? How do I want to say it a little bit differently? And what aspect do I really want to bring out? And so like my mind has to be prepared for it. And so I wrote about the first half on the first sitting, and then it just stopped. Like the connection was cut. I'm like, okay. And then when I came back to it like 3 weeks later, honestly, because I'm a little bit of a last minute person, but I finally came back to it and I pretty much rewrote what I had written, and then was able, as I rewrote it, then that's only when the ending came. So it was a very like alchemical process for me on this one. And I really enjoyed it. And I think that I resonate with what everyone else is saying, is that it does access deeper levels of healing. Like I came away sharing this story with a much more profound, meaningful, like, oh, look what I did. Look what I came through. I had some imposter syndrome as well. Like, who's going to want to hear this? But you kind of have to just trust the process and hope that it does inspire somebody. Even if it's one person, then that's what we were called to do with this work.
Thank you. For those of you who are watching as well, those are Lauren's paintings behind her.
Thank you.
So Lauren's an artist, and we talk all about that in her feature cover interview with Awaken Magazine. So wonderful work. I want to hear a couple things about what are your hopes for the book. So those of you who are listening or watching, awakenedheartsbook.com is where you can pick up the Kindle version, the paperback, the hardback version of the book on Amazon, and really would encourage you to leave a review. That's an easy way that you can help us spread the word about the book. People oftentimes will look at the number of reviews and the quality of the reviews before they buy the book. And so it's an aspect of credibility that would really help us out. Let's see, Debbie, if you wouldn't mind going first, what are your hopes for your chapter and your the book in general as people read it? What are your hopes for that? And let's see, I think I might have you muted. Let me unmute you. There you go. Go for it.
Okay. Well, I would say my chapter is for, and the reason I chose, well, I don't really feel like I chose it. I feel like I was guided toward this story for this particular book. What my hope is for the readers that are reading that is that they recognize that they aren't alone, that that you can, with the help, you can come to your own understanding of anything. And I think my hope for the book in general is that, and this is what I say to everybody that I'm asking to read this book, there will be a story in there that you will relate to, and it is going to open up the space for you. Whatever the space is that you're ready to hear, whatever it is, they're going to find something there that's going to hold and change their vibrational energy, even if it's just a little tiny bit. So that, I mean, I've got goosebumps saying that. But for my personal, this is the first time that I've been able to feel open enough to speak my truth, because I've always listened and intently wanted to hear other people's narratives. So what I can do with this is I can share my narrative and still help consult and work and help people write their narratives, maybe for the next awakening book.
Wonderful. Thank
That's
you,
my goal.
Debbie. Debbie, where can people follow you and connect with you online in terms of choosing to work with you for consulting or having you speak at an event?
Right now I have, I'm going to say my Instagram account is probably the best. I'm working, probably in a couple weeks I'll have my website up. So Kane STC4 in Instagram. You can also contact me through my email, which is dkanestc@yahoo.
Wonderful. Thank you, Debbie. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right. Let's see. And Ellie, tell us about your hopes for the book and specifically for your chapter as well. What are your hopes?
My hope for my chapter is for it to inspire people who read it to be okay with where they're at, meeting themselves at where they are at, and that it's okay to be where they're at, and that's where you can begin. And that really you don't have to go searching for whatever it is, that it really starts within, and then you can create it and create the world that you really want to see. But it starts within.
Yeah.
And in terms of the book, I hope that Awakened Hearts finds whoever needs it most. I believe whether it's my chapter or anybody else's chapter in the book, that something will resonate with somebody and open them up and will change their lives in ways that I can't even imagine. And I really hope that it lands in the hands of someone standing on the edge of their own becoming, and that these stories light someone's way through the dark, and that they can offer comfort and a sense of sacred remembering, and that they may awaken to knowing that they're not alone, and that healing might be hard, but it's an important thing to embrace. It's really sacred. So
Wonderful. Thank you, Ellie. Where can people follow you and connect with you online?
right now, people can connect with me through my Facebook account. It's under my name,
Ellie Epstein.
Ellie Epstein-White.
Yeah. Wonderful. Thank you, Ellie. Thank you so much. All right. Let's see. Lauren, would you mind sharing with us what are your hopes for your chapter and the book in general?
Thank you. I resonate with what everyone's saying. I think that I hope that it invites people to know that they're not alone, to know that as you're walking through your healing path, which does look different for everyone, there's another side to it. And we can get caught up in, is this ever going to end? Or how do I do this? Or what's the point of healing? Because it is hard to heal. And if you know that there is another side to it, like there's a saying that we move through and away from pain to invite in more joy and more life itself. And that's the important part about going through that. So I hope that it offers hope to anyone who needs it. And just, that there's light at the end of the tunnel, and that is going to be worth everything that you've been through. Absolutely.
Thank you, Lauren. Where can people connect with you and follow you online?
Yeah, my business is Orion Retreats. You can follow that on Instagram, orionretreats.com. You can message me on there. Also, my personal Instagram is shine your divine, touching back on that divinity spark. But yeah, reach out anytime, even with questions, and say hi. I'm open to connecting with whoever wants to connect. Yeah,
and of course, if you're missing any of this, obviously you can scrub back in the video and find it. But if you go to Awakened Hearts book, pick up the book, and then in the book, all of their contact information is readily accessible there. Maureen, what are your hopes for your chapter and the book in general?
Okay, my book in general is I hope that the book enlightens all of those that read it and touches them in many ways. For me, I hope it helps them evolve. I hope it helps open their minds, their consciousness level to understanding that there's so much more than just their human part of themselves, that they accept and learn and tap into their soul, and specifically their soul's path, as well as all the gifts that heaven has to give once we're able to connect with heaven and let heaven into our lives and allow heaven to help us and to guide us. With my chapter, I hope that people gain a greater understanding and respect for heaven, for the spiritual guides, the guardian angels that we've been lucky enough to be gifted. I hope that they help connect with God at a stronger level. And for those that deny God, that they open their minds and their hearts to their maker's existence. I hope that they shift heavily away from all the traps that life on earth has. The material plane has so many sabotages, the vanity, the greed, the deception, the low ethics. I hope that your book, our book, helps awaken people to feel inspired and to choose to live a more ethical life, so that karmic blessings can be sent to them more often and more easily, which would make their life here on earth so much more happier and joyful, as well as their afterlife.
Thank you so much, Maureen. Where can people connect and follow you online?
Everything is under Oracle Maureen. I have a website, Instagram, Facebook, a YouTube, a blog. I also have a charity that Kuan Yin came to me back in 2013 and asked me to open and create for her the Ascended Masters and God Give Me missions on helping to create awareness for wherever they see pain and suffering happening in the world, primarily with animals and children. A big part of my job here is also holding fundraisers and creating those missions on whatever they give to me. Right now I'm doing one for elephants, and the one for horses is coming up. All of the profits from my spiritual work go to my charity and go to helping all the different causes that they put in my lap. That is Angels Among Us Foundation. Kuan Yin actually named that. So.
And what is the date? I know you've got an event with a private reading here in Orange County to facilitate or I should say raise money for the elephants. What's the date on that?
Saturday, July 19th, I'm doing a group reading at Five Crowns Restaurant in Corona Del Mar, where as the medium gift in me, I will help people connect with their loved ones on the other side. I'm hosting it. There's fine dining, happy hour, dessert, and then the proceeds will be helping another elephant cause.
Wonderful. Thank you, Maureen.
Thank you.
Dinah, last but not least, I want to hear your hopes for this chapter that you gave birth to into the world. What are your hopes?
Thank you. I guess the hope that I have for my chapter is that, similarly like others, is to meet people where they're at, but also to connect with that inner peace and really that compassionate heart, because we often put ourselves last and put others first. And so I hope that in, the words that I've written, you blossom into that radiance of yourself and know and remember that that's there and that's you. And collectively, there are many of us here telling stories of just love and compassion and healing. And so collectively in this book, I really hope that people see themselves in others and that we're here as friends. We're your warm companion leading you, holding your hand, and being that mirror that we've been in your situation. We, maybe not the same situation, but something similar, so that you're not feeling like you're alone. Because again, it's really hard, going through these emotions and the experiences that we come across. And so, I hope that the book just allows for everyone to experience, this joy, and collectively we're all here, and just feeling loved, and that their path has meaning. And sometimes we just need a little nudge, and just remember how to shine and to connect to that joy. So. Thank you so much. I'm so happy to be with all of you here. I love hearing each one of your stories. And thank you, David, so much.
Yeah. Thank you, Dinah. And where can people follow you and get connected with you as well?
Yeah, so you can find me at dinahsimpson.com. That's my website. And at High Key, that's K-I Living, which just means high vibrational living.
High Key Living on Instagram.
On Instagram, yeah.
Yes. Okay. Well, it is wonderful to be with all of you. Thank you, Dinah, Debbie, Ellie, Maureen, and Lauren. Thank you for taking time to share your heart, your wisdom, your story. And for those of you who are watching, once again, encourage you to pick up the book at awakenedheartsbook.com. That'll take you right to the listing on Amazon, where you can pick up the Kindle, paperback, or hardback, and would invite you to leave an Amazon review as well. That's a great way for you to help us spread the word about the book and share the book with a friend, because my guess is your friend will find some inspiring stories as well. So guys, thank you. Great to be with you. We'll be back here. Let's see, this is Wednesday. So Thursday, 6 o'clock Pacific time, we'll be doing another round of interviews, and then Friday morning at 9 a.m. Pacific time. back here on YouTube, Facebook, LinkedIn, and Twitter. All right. You guys have a great afternoon. Wonderful. Talk to you soon. Okay. Bye-bye.